Today on Interurban Era, we do something different. Getting friends back into hobbies is always a good thing, and today we revisit a classic model that helped cement one of my longest-lasting friendships. The USS Arizona battleship model from Revell captured 9-year-old us, sitting on the shelves of a local Raley's grocery store. At the time, we were obsessed with Micro Machines, a popular vehicle toy line in the 1990s that produced surprisingly realistic scale toys. 3 of my friends had pretty impressive collections despite not having a lot of money to spare. We often set up skirmishes across vast plains of beige carpeting that lined our homes at the time. It was around that time that my other friend's pool was complete, that we got the idea to expand our collection pool size, so we headed down to the grocery store and bought the USS Arizona model and hastily and poorly put it together. It served hundreds of tours of duty, being patched up if any heavy damage occurred. Amazingly, the original survives today, as I'd put it in a box labeled Childhood Memories over a decade ago, and it sat, waiting for the day it would be relevant again. Last year for Christmas, my friend gave me a sealed copy of the Revell Uss Arizona Kit. During the summer, we decided to build it together, slowly, over a few hangouts that lasted into the fall. He was excited to build the kit, figuring out the laughably poor Revell instructions. I was on duty doing the painting, teaching him how to do it alongside me as well. The model itself is rather unusual. Debuted in 1957 by Revell, it was scaled to the cardboard box it came in, a bizarre 1:426 scale, which is not a common scale at all. The split hole design is by far the Achilles heel of the model, requiring clamping solutions not friendly to novice modelers. The Revell Kit represents the 1931 heavy refit of the USS Arizona, which, as built, had spidery cage observation towers and a much different seaplane launching catapult arrangement. At the time, the seaplanes were launched using large explosive blank cartridges instead of steam or other methods. The cause of the USS Arizona's loss on the 7th of December 1941 was a Japanese bomb exploding some seaplane catapult blanks, which in turn detonated one of the forward ammunition magazines for the 14-inch guns. That began sinking the ship to the bottom of Pearl Harbor, where it remains today. Obviously, this model was intended to represent the ship in its final year of service. Thankfully, our model won't suffer a similar fate. We began by priming all the parts, ironically, with Tamiya Imperial Japanese Navy Gray, which I had on hand. I followed up with some Hull Red from Rust-Oleum and finished it off with a black waterline stripe. I then masked off the deck and sprayed it to look like well-maintained teak decking, and followed up painting the steel parts IJN Gray by hand with a microbrush. We then had to clamp the whole halves together. I started by running glue down the main seam, then pressing the halves together while my friend laid a strip of painter's tape over the seam to keep them together. We then used a small quick clamp and some scrap steel as a weight to keep it in place. Next, my friend began assembly of all the deck pieces, which came together much better than we had as kids, trimming off all the flash and making sure everything looked good as it went along. I painted the Curtiss Seagull float planes to match their pre-1941 appearance with their attractive yellow wings and red tails. The rest of the assembly went together quickly, and soon we were ready to christen the new model. We took a bunch of comparison shots of the two together, and then headed down to the boat launch to pose her on a slipway that launched a real US Navy destroyer back in the First World War. It made a fun model to build together, rekindling a long-beloved, shared hobby long since dormant for my friend. It's a beautiful thing to build a model that has much deeper meaning than just the thrill of the build, but to make new fond memories, echoing those of our childhood. We plan to build many more things together, most likely something space-related, and we'll see that here on Interurban Era.